Hello, everyone. This is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. As we get into our 60s, we become very aware of the stereotypes that society has placed around us and some of the stereotypes that we place on ourselves over the years. And I would like to talk today with our special guest about these myths of aging that we are dealing with as 60-year-old women. My guest is Carol Osborne. Carol is the editor and founder of Fierce with Age, which is a digest of boomer wisdom. She's an author. She's written 20-some books and writes today for Huffington Post and Next Avenue. And she has actually worked with brands in her life as a marketing specialist. So she's very aware of the situation and going to give us some of her insights. So welcome, Carol. It's lovely to have you here.
Thanks, Margaret. Great to see you.
Thank you. You know, we do have a lot of questions for you about this myth of aging. And I guess that's where I'd like to just start. You know, I know you work with brands a lot in your life, so you're very familiar with these anti-aging brands that are pervasive. Could you tell us a bit about, what those aging myths are, in your opinion, and, how you think they're expressed in advertising and brands today?
Let me just give you a little bit of personal experience.
Okay.
Because when my background is all in marketing and public relations.
Right.
My avocation has always been self-help, psychology, and spirituality.
Okay.
So for many years, I could apply this sort of deeper psychology to my understanding of the boomer generation and help marketers understand the changes we were going through.
Right.
And as recently as when I was in my 50s, I was able to work with companies like Ford and Prudential and American Express, Humana. The blue chip companies, and feel like I had something to offer because they all want to make money serving boomer needs.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to get it right. And what they understood is that the majority of boomers were still vital, still in the workplace, sandwich generation with parents and children and all that kind of stuff. So it was a beautiful marriage, and I feel really like I did a great job helping to liberate the notion that aging is what happened to our parents, because I feel like we're doing it very differently.
Yes.
But I've just recently become a former marketer.
And you see the light now. You see what you've been doing all these years.
I don't understand because I'm so busy with the digest and writing and everything.
Yes.
But I realized that the message I have for brands now is not necessarily going to help them make more money, because I don't want to be part of a status quo system that makes women feel like that they have to be younger, that they have to stay active in ways they were when they were at the peak of their careers. I've become very excited and interested in exploring about the possibilities and potentialities of older age.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found very few marketers willing to go there.
So in terms of, especially the beauty industry and fashion, there's just a lot of, kind of pushing from the advertisers, the brands that you mentioned, that women have to look a certain way. They have to, especially be young. So let's talk about youthful mythologies. How do women fight back from that? How can we amplify our voice to speak out, not against it, but in response to it?
Let me give you a good example. Those of us who are still on AOL, and many of us are because we just didn't want to lose people along the way. So AOL has a lot of older women on it.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
Yes, when you go onto AOL, I don't know how they know who you are, but I always get the same ad that's from Perricone cream.
Yes, yes.
And it says, "Don't let your neck reveal your age." As if your neck could talk. Would say something like, "Don't listen to Carol anymore. She's just an old bag. She's not worth listening to."
It says that.
Well,
yeah.
Assuming that's what my neck would say. That's what they think my neck would say.
Yeah.
Really, what my neck would say is, Carol is 66. Is she the coolest thing ever?
Great neck.
Exactly. So, you asked how should women start speaking out. Okay, I'm 66. That's not something that I used to tell people, even recently, because when I was trying to make my money as a brand marketer, if I had confessed my age, if I had let my hair go
Yes.
gray, I know for a fact I would have been marginalized because I was. I was replaced by the website that I was a brand spokesperson for by an avatar. They picked a photographed, a woman in her 50s, airbrushed to look like she was in her 40s, and she was being written by interns in their 20s.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that is actually part of the challenge, is that in the advertising agency, a lot of the account managers or the agency team are young people who are very ingrained in those mythologies. But do you think that that's changing now a little bit with some recently some actresses, well, again, celebrities, but being positioned in fashion houses as their lead model, and I forget the ones for face now. There was a face of Marc Jacobs, I think. That this is changing a bit. Do you agree? Maybe not.
Well, if you can find, they use the same four people all the time. It's always Susan Sarandon. It's also it's always Diane Keaton. It's the same
It's
four or
true.
five. Meryl Streep, Helen Mirren. I can tell you who they are. Or they're clones. If you can be that age and still look like you're in your 40s, then it's okay. What I'm talking about is, even now, I will show a picture of a woman in her 80s or 90s, even with deep lines, really looking her age, and I see beauty there.
Mm-hmm.
And even with my peers, and probably with a lot of the people in your community too, if I showed them this picture, they still would not identify beauty with it. So, we have a long way to go. And like I said, my interests don't necessarily help sell products.
Yeah, I think I remember, actually, I read one of your books, actually, something about most marketers who target women over 60 believe that women over 60 are in denial about aging, and that actually that's sadly that they're right. And that really struck me, that women over 60 have a responsibility to themselves to break away from that, perhaps.
Well, I don't know. I have nice skin, and I've always used a really nice moisturizer. It may even be advertised as an anti-aging moisturizer. I tend to think of health and beauty as what pleases me. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm influenced by societal norms. I know I am, but I would never hurt myself for beauty. Let me put it that way. And I think that there are a lot of women who would. I saw somebody blogging the other day. She was really mad at the fashion industry because they didn't make the 6-inch heels that didn't give you bunions. Well, it's like, I don't know, maybe don't wear the 6-inch heels anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's like
yes.
I feel sorry for young people that are wearing 6-inch heels. For me, it's not about looking younger. It's about finding the clothes that let you run when you want to. Like I said in a earlier conversation with you, if I need to get to Tai Chi in 5 minutes, that I feel like I'm beautiful because I know exactly what to grab. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's actually it's a really good point, actually, because I think that a lot of fashion designers make clothing for young people's lifestyle. They know what a young person's lifestyle is. Their experimentation, or they're independent. They've got that. But when it gets to older women, they actually don't believe our lifestyle. They don't believe that we go to Tai Chi, that we actually go running, that we travel on our own. They sort of know it, but that's a myth that they are perpetuating.
Well, and you're talking to the wrong person, because my hobby, what I love more than anything in the world, is going to vintage shops and thrift shops and looking for one-of-a-kind items that are nothing like anybody else has.
But they express your inner self. They do. So
yes.
that's you. That's great.
I guess I care about what the fashion industry was doing in the 1960s.
Yes. Well, that's
the 80s.
So let's talk about support systems, though, that can help women to really speak, not out against, but speak, in response to this situation. So what about girlfriends and and friendships with women to help, to help us start prioritizing around who we are and what we love to do and how we like to look, rather than what society says we should be doing? How do girlfriends help?
I don't think anything influences you more than your personal inner circle. And I made a huge transition when I left a 9-to-5 job and found myself able to go to the YMCA every day. So for me, I've never looked so good because I'm physically fit. It really has nothing to do with what I'm wearing. I can do things with, uh, physically, and it shows. I've got less weight on me, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the women that are attracted to the Y and have become my good friends. I didn't know them before I went there, but we're buddies now. And what do we care about fashion? We're in sweatsuits. If I have to dress up, I dress up. Um, I guess I'm fortunate because when I was younger, I bought timeless clothes like St. John and things like that are never gonna go out of style and never. Well, I mean, they would go out of style if you wanted to be trendy, but if you just want to look good, they're
Yeah.
classic.
Quality
They're
stuff.
classic quality looks. I don't feel like I ever have to spend over like $75 again in my life for anything.
For anything. Okay. All right, Carol. You're great. I can just no, seriously, I can imagine women sitting in their rooms watching you thinking, oh my gosh, this woman is saying exactly what I feel. I'm with her. I get it. But I am so far from where she is. I'm so worried about how I look and what my children might think of me. Just tell me, not to ask you too personal, but tell us how you got there. I mean, what happened to you that you were able to build that confidence?
Well, we talked earlier. I wrote this book.
Yes.
Called
Fierce with Age.
World in Brooklyn. And I know you found me, I think, because you read this book.
I love that book.
A lot of people have read this book. And I guess it's an important book to me because I didn't know I was going to publish it. I caught myself in that moment when I was transitioning from my big career and thinking I was Carol Orsborn.
The Carol Orsborn.
I'm back. I'm back on my own terms. But there is that moment when you are transitioning out of the peak of your life, either by choice or in my case, and in many of our cases, it's something that's imposed on us. I think I mentioned I was replaced at my job by an avatar, a fictional character, sort of a Betty Crocker type, and couldn't get new work in my field as a spokesperson for product. I was too old. And little stings like we were living in an apartment building in New York at the time, and my neighbors would always ask me for favors, my young neighbors, but when they would have a party, I never got invited. And, it's like, wait a minute, they think I'm old. Oh my gosh, I must be old. So I really captured that transition for me, and I know we get to do another segment on spirituality because my vocation has always been marketing and teaching, but my avocation, what I've done all my life, is read self-help psychology and spiritual literature.
Yeah.
And I've led retreats, I've taught, I've written, I've blogged, all that kind of stuff. So, for me, liberation is coming out of a more spiritual place of disengaging from external validation and turning within to find out the incredible gift of finding joy that is independent of anybody else's opinions or even circumstances.
I heard you speaking in another interview about this, and I really liked the distinction that you made is that when you're older, there's independence from people, from situations, from constraints, but there's also independence independence to do all these things that you wanted to do. And I mean, I admire you because I know from the book, and I do encourage people to read it, that you didn't have it wasn't just plain sailing. You had to have some dark nights of the soul to get there. So I guess, just to close, what would be your message to women that are watching you and thinking, oh, I want to be that free from stereotypes and, mythologies of aging. How do I do it? What would you say?
I channeled 11 truths in the course of the book. And the one that really sticks with me right now is that others' rejection is my freedom. And that's easy because when you're making that transition, you feel a lot of rejection. You do. And if you can flip it upside down and say, wait a minute, that which is rejecting me is also offering me freedom. I don't know what I want to do with that freedom yet, but I'm going to trust, and this is why it's a spiritual, I'm going to trust something larger than myself to show me the way, that there is another side to this, and that on the other side of rejection is going to be some sort of experience of greater joy and not just growing old, but growing whole, something I have not ever experienced.
Wow. Not growing old, growing whole. That is a really great statement. No, that is such a truth. And I appreciate you bringing that, into words, because it's made a difference for me. I certainly have, it made me think. And that's what this is all about. Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate your insights and your time. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Margaret.
All right. Take care.